You're listening to Women Infused Radio, where women in the marketplace connect with purpose and spirit, where the conversation covers all things women, business, and fascinating faith. And now, your host, Christy Lynn Olson.
Welcome to episode 36 of Women Infused Radio. In my own life, I've recently realized that in order to walk out this big purpose that God has on my life, I need to have increased health and energy. And frankly, that is something I've really been struggling with. But this past year, I decided to take control of my health. I've done a number of things that I will share in the next few months, but one of the biggest things I've done is find a functional medical doctor, which is an approach that focuses on identifying and addressing the root cause of disease, not just give you a prescription to cover it up. And as well, I focused on natural things that I could do to get stronger and healthier. And if you've been feeling lately like you need more energy or even just a little healthier lifestyle, you're going to love this interview. And I know God has a big purpose on your life as well, and you need to have increased health and energy. So today I want to introduce you to a good friend and sister in Christ, Wendy Pett. She is one of the women who has helped me grow on my health journey and is an invaluable resource. Let me share a little of her bio before we dive into our conversation together. Wendy is passionate about motivating and encouraging people to make fitness and nutrition part of their daily routine. She teaches the balance of mind, body, and spirit to help others learn the importance of reaching their full potential through her Visibly Fit wellness program. Wendy has a nationally syndicated television program that airs every Saturday on DirecTV on the NRB Network, Uplift TV Network, and SmartLifestyle.tv. She contributes weekly on KTIS Radio in the Twin Cities as Coach Wendy and has been a featured columnist in multiple magazines and newspapers. Wendy is a full-time business owner of Wendy Pett Enterprises, a naturopathic doctor, wife, mother, author, speaker, TV host, and part-time volunteer. Her business consists of whole food, plant-based wellness coaching, emotional healing, personal online training, fitness planning, educational and motivational speaking, and creating new products or tools to assist clients along their wellness journey. And I can attest to you that Wendy, when she's working with a client, she is all in and she is praying for her clients. She is doing everything she can to create their success. Now, it was after a major injury to Wendy's shoulder almost 2 decades ago that she resorted to body weight resistance exercise for strength and healing, and she hasn't turned back to any other form of training since. She has helped countless others reach their fitness goals without ever compromising their joints, tendons, or ligaments, teaching that your body is your gym. A great way to work out anytime and anywhere, no excuses allowed. To learn more, you can go to wendypett.com, and I will post links in the show notes to her website and also a special link because Wendy has a free gift for you. So if you listen to the end of the podcast, we're going to be talking more about some of the free gifts, but this one is the top 10 drinks to ditch to eliminate your muffin top. I know we all can use that at one time or another, so make sure you check out the show notes and look for her free gift. But also look at her website because she has a number of amazing ways that you can work with her to help you overcome any health challenges that you might just need a little extra guidance around. And it's also grounded in biblical principles, which is something we at Women Infused care a lot about in anything that we do. So here we go. I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Well, Wendy, welcome to Women Infused Radio. I'm so glad to have this conversation with you today.
Thank you. Me too. It's so good to be here.
And for those of you listening, yes, Wendy is really my friend. We were talking about that the other day. You know, Wendy, I think what happened is I was promoting something you were speaking at or something, a program you were offering, and I had a couple of friends, and I had mentioned, well, you know, you need to listen to my good friend Wendy Pett. And they're like, they messaged me privately like it was a big secret. And like, do you really know Wendy Pett? I'm like, yes,
that's
I really
hilarious.
know Wendy.
Yeah, after spending 13 days together in India, you get to know someone pretty well. So yeah,
you sure do. We sure do. So thank you for confirming that. So the rumors are true. We are friends.
That's funny.
It was, and you know, Wendy, you really are the real deal, and so that's why I want to have you on the show today. You know, this past year I've been struggling a little bit with some serious health issues, and it got me thinking. I wanted to have a conversation with you about, you know, what are some of the top health issues, and not even just health issues, but what are women struggling with today? And because of your background background. I know you have a unique insight into this. And what can we do about it? So that's really why I wanted to bring a conversation around that. So women's health, emotional, spiritual, how are we doing as a species, but how are we doing as women, and what can we do about it? So I'm going to let you just kind of tell us, what do you see when you're out talking to women and ministering to women and working with them? What are some of the things that you think we're struggling with, and what can we do about it?
Well, it's kind of a loaded question because I think it's a several tiered layer of an answer. In the sense that women, men and women, but we're going to focus on women. Women are really dealing with a lot of health issues, more than normal, because of the excess amount of stress, the excess of lack of sleep. All of these kind of things start to play a role in our health. And so, cardiovascular disease is still the number one cause of death for women. Okay.
Really? You don't think about that.
I know, because we hear the other C word, cancer.
Right. Uh-huh.
And so it's getting closer, unfortunately, but, to the cardiovascular disease, but so much of, what women are dealing with, and again, men, but so much of what we're dealing with has to do with how we are taking care of our bodies, what are we feeding our body? What are not just the food that we're feeding our body, but what about the words and the messages that we're feeding our mind, and the social media, and the is it negative or positive kind of messages that we are absorbing, because that affects everyone at the cellular level. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Wow. That, you're right, because God created us so uniquely, and we always think, it only goes so deep. But when you're talking cellular level, that encompasses pretty much our existence, everything.
It does.
Our
the
environment.
Yes. Yeah. The water you drink. Exactly. And so, and this world right now, unfortunately, is very toxic in many ways, from the pollution in the air, unless you're in an awesome blue zone area. But just like I said, even the negativity that's around us can shape our health and our well-being. So I say this because this is a lot of what I deal with my clients. They come to me and they're like, they want to lose weight. That's all they're focused on. And I get that, because we're women and we want to look good in that pair of skinny jeans or whatever. Right. But the reality is it's so much more than the weight. It's a mind, body, spirit approach. And so often, it's how are we thinking about ourselves? Mark 11:25 says, and whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, that your Father in heaven may also forgive you for your trespasses. And so it may not be somebody else, but here's the deal, ladies that are listening. What if it's you that you need to forgive? Now that's a big one, right? Because that's what I see more often than not, is that we just need to forgive ourselves for not taking care of ourselves all these years, or not stepping into the role as we expected we were supposed to step into it, or all the missed expectations that we didn't do, right? But here's what I want to say is, once you start to forgive, once you start to let that go, and let the just that forgiveness piece unlock the door to your heart, it's amazing how weight will just fall off. In fact, I had a gal that went through, I have a 7-week coaching program, and she went through the program and she was at a plateau at like week 5. And I said, all right, so we had this little exercise that we do. And she went through this forgiveness piece. And that week she released, I say released because it's about releasing the emotions that are attached to the weight. She released 5 pounds that week after forgiveness.
Wow.
Right? So it's amazing how it really does, it unlocks so much and releases toxicity once we start to just let go of that negativity.
That is amazing. And it just goes to show it's not about, and I know we don't like the word diet either as women, but it's not, all those things come into play, but there is no magic diet, or there is no quick fix. And when
I wish there were, that'd be great.
Right. But when you think of all these things like forgiveness, there's a root cause. What I'm hearing you say is there's a root cause to a lot of the things that affect us. And so if we can just,
that's right,
dial in to Holy Spirit and say, what is the root? And ask the Father, what are you trying to teach me in this?
Yeah.
We can start healing.
Yeah, because that root is actually a root of inflammation in the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a body with inflammation is prime and ready to go for disease.
Now, can you share more about inflammation? I'm going to just kind of interrupt a little bit because I hear that word a lot. And I'll be honest, Wendy, I don't even know what that really means. So when you say inflammation, what are we talking about?
Okay. Well, let's think about like when you get a cut or a scrape and you have just acute inflammation around a little wound, right? Mm-hmm. The body is preparing to heal itself, right? So it releases these healing agents and also, extra antibodies and this kind of thing to go and heal that wound. But when you are carrying a lot of quote unquote wounds, if you will, because of the toxins in our body, then those inflammatory markers, those receptors are being turned on way too much and causing more inflammation than the body can handle, which puts more toxicity on the body, right? Oh. So it's very interesting. So I know we're hearing a lot about detox and yes, inflammation. And you're like, okay, well, what does that mean? I feel a little puffy, but I don't know. Is that inflammation?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you may not, inflammation you can't always see in the beginning, okay? Yeah. You can see it, of course, like under your eyes. Yeah, that puffy is a sign, right? That there's inflammation in the body. But inflammation can be kind of lurking as well.
Okay.
So, like I said, if the receptors are turned on, and if you are dealing with more inflammation than your body can handle, then it starts to trigger certain cellular activity that maybe are not healthy cells, like cancer cells, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why we really want to make sure that we are feeding our body with the foods that God intended. And I'm really a big fan, as you know, of a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Okay. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Mainly because, and I know your listeners are going to be like, oh my gosh, but meat and dairy and sugar, processed foods, those are all foods, quote unquote, if you will, that cause the body to become inflamed. Okay. They raise up those inflammatory markers and receptors and turn them on. And so when you're eating more whole food, plant-based, then you're getting the vitamins and the nutrients and the phytochemicals that your body really needs and deserves at the cellular level so that it can replicate healthy new cells. Because we are what we eat, right?
Right.
And we are what we ate, if you're eating meat or whatever. But if you're eating just whole foods, plant-based foods, you are getting the nourishment that literally your cells are thriving on. And that's what your body wants. So when you have these quote unquote cravings for chocolate, it's not really what your body wants. Your body wants what it's deficient in. So it's deficient in magnesium, different things like that you can get from dark leafy greens and nuts and legumes and seeds and, that kind of thing. So we reach for that thing that we have grown accustomed to liking and enjoying, and we have emotions around it, right?
Right.
Remember I was talking about releasing emotions that are attached to the weight. So often we have emotions that are attached to a thing that we go to for comfort, that counterfeit comfort, that false sense of comfort, whether it's a cup of coffee or an ice cream cone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
A bowl of pasta. Like what is that thing that is that counterfeit comfort for you? And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be, a thing of kale that you're going and reaching for. I wish it was, but maybe we can work on that.
Right. Although I will tell you, I crave seaweed, that dried seaweed or a seaweed salad. So I totally get that because sometimes you can shift your mindset into some other things. But so I feel like we think we need one thing, but it's really another. But I also hear women saying, oh, but if you're going to make me do whole food, plant food, that's so expensive. But I know you, Wendy, and I also know you know how to get the foods that we need to get. And how can you share with us a few tips about, it really isn't a more expensive lifestyle. At least I don't think it is.
Gosh,
because
no.
I've
It's
been
actually
trying to
less
do this.
expensive.
Is
Yeah.
it? Okay.
It really is, because if you, for instance, if you're a meat eater, and listen here, I grew up in Texas. I used to be meat and potatoes. I totally get it. So just know, if I can do it, you can do it. But you look at your grocery bill, and the meat is what makes that bill go up a lot, is the price of meat. Now, if you start consuming legumes and beans and that kind of thing, you can buy it in bulk, and oh my goodness, you're going to save money. Now, if you're talking about vegetables and getting, organic and non-GMO, different, varieties of things, yes, that's important. We definitely want to go that route. But I want you to look at it as investment. You can get, my goodness, we go to Costco and get our organic berries, and it's less expensive a lot than going to the local grocery store. Or if you have a local farmer that you can get your greens and that kind of thing from, that's awesome. So find out where you can do like a co-op or that kind of thing in your area, and that will save you a lot of money.
Well, I know we have a co-op through the clinic that I go to. I go to a functional medicine doctor now, which has been amazing. But they started a co-op for the vegetables. You get it every week, and you share it with a bunch of people.
Don't you love that?
It's
like, ooh, what am I going to get today?
It is. It's like Christmas every week. And I have to tell you, so, I've been friends with you a long time, and it's really been a long journey for me to get to the point. But I can honestly say we are eating almost 100% plant-based, definitely whole food. And it's not so much that I thought, right away I felt different. But I can tell you, when I went on vacation about 2 months ago, I ate food that I hadn't eaten in like 9 months, and I felt so sick. And so that's when you realize, I'm like, wow, it really does make a difference. I think you do notice it right away. I did have more energy and I did feel better, but you almost don't appreciate it till you put some of those unhealthy things back in your body. And that's when you really notice. You're like, I felt sick for a week because I was still trying to process, right?
Yeah, you're so right. And our bodies give us signals all the time, but what happens is we ignore them. And then pretty soon the body's like, well, she's not listening anyway, so I'm just going to quit telling her until that cancer shows up, until the heart disease shows up. So that's why I'm so passionate about getting people to look at this as a serious situation. It's not like, why wait until it's too late or possibly too late? Let's go ahead and be prevention minded rather than trying to fix a problem that you've already put into place. Now, here's the cool news is that, if you're diabetic, for instance, type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic, I've had clients that have reversed their type 2 and pre-diabetes diagnosis in 7 weeks, just by what they're putting in their mouth and the exercise that they're doing. So we do have the ability. God, He gave us everything that we need. We just sometimes need that, the protocol and that person that's going to keep you highly accountable. And that's what I do.
And I think that's so important. So let me ask you this, and if we need to go another direction, we can. But when you're talking about we change our food habits and we start, especially as believers, if we get in the Word and we start asking the Lord to show us areas where we maybe need to forgive, and we start really walking down this new path, and then all of a sudden we kind of get a bump in the road and we go back to what you're saying, this counterfeit comfort. I love that, counterfeit comfort foods. Or we start thinking, oh, this really isn't working. And we have to move our bodies more too. And so I see that.
100%.
So when we kind of see this bump in the road, I'm like, okay, now I'm fixing my diet or what I eat. I'm fixing my foods differently. But we have to move our body. And I know that's been a really hard one for me. And I'm like, well, I started by walking. But what should we do to go to the next level? What would you recommend?
Okay. Well, I think it's a great question. I'm going to tell you about Sheila to explain a little bit. Sheila called me about a year ago. It was right after, maybe it was before Christmas, after Christmas. And she had gone through my program, but I haven't talked to her in a long time. And so she was just in a real funk. She was in a depression. She was in a state of serious depression, like couldn't get out of bed, couldn't get out of her pajamas, had 2 young children. She's only in her 30s and she was in tears. She said, I don't know what to do. I can't go to work. She's just paralyzed. Right. And so I see this often, actually, this depression, this loneliness, this not knowing how to take a step forward and what to do, and how do I shake loose of not just getting exercise in my body, but the mindset around it all. And so we prayed on the phone, and I said, Sheila, are you willing to do something? And mind you, you know, I live in Minnesota. You used to live here. It's cold. It's cold in January. Like right now, it's whatever. It's 11 below. So it's cold. But I said, Sheila, are you willing to do me a favor? And she said, yeah. What? I said, all right, it's actually a favor for you, but I need you to put on your coat. I need you to put on your boots, your scarf, your hat, your gloves. And I don't care if you're still in your pajamas, just put it on all over that. And I want you to go for a walk around the block and call me. Can you do that? And she said, I don't know. I said, well, I know you can do that. And so I said, I want you to call me in 10 minutes. So we hung up. I waited. I prayed.
Yes.
And do you know that she called me back? It wasn't in 10 minutes, it was in 15. So it may have taken her a little bit longer to get those boots on.
Right.
And so she called me, and she was laughing. She was laughing. That spirit of depression had been lifted off. She was in that forward motion again. She felt like she could, this is a woman that hadn't done anything for a week. So I tell you this as a kind of a long answer to tell you that no matter how great you've done in the past, if you come to a stuck point, you just go back to putting one foot in front of the other, like you going for a walk. It releases those positive endorphins, and it shakes loose depression. It shakes loose the I can't, and it gives you just a different perspective, and it allows you to hear from God too, when you're out in his beautiful creation. But that's the very first thing you got to do. You got to walk. Now, if you don't feel like that's enough and you're wanting to take that to the next level, then we have to pick up the pace, whether it's a jog or run, walking faster, longer, uphill. Those kind of things are important. But we also need to build muscle, right? Because building muscle burns fat, just even at a resting state. Even if you're just sitting behind the computer and you went for a walk or a run this morning and then somebody else didn't, and you were side by side and we were to compare notes, you would burn more calories just sitting behind your computer because you are building more muscle at the resting state. So that's good to hear. You're going to have more energy.
Yes.
I teach Visibly Fit, as you know, and it's all about using your body as your gym. So it's a little different. I think I've taken you through it before, but it's mind muscle connection. So it's a lot of like moving isometrics. I help you eliminate any excuses of having to get to the gym or using any kind of equipment, because your body really is your gym. So I want women to become empowered and understand that being strong is good. Being strong allows us to do more functional activity. It's functional fitness, from carrying groceries in to our kids or grandkids or whatever stage of life you're in. Having strength is good. And it helps to build bone health and bone density. So
which is
that's
important.
what we have to, it is very important as we age, for sure.
Well, and I want to circle back a little bit to depression, and I don't want to dwell on that, but you talked about cardiovascular. Women deal with a lot of that. I think women deal a lot with depression. It's not unique to women, but as you told us about your friend Sheila, we can get in that. And so in order to get out of depression, that's one thing, but then accountability is the next thing you talked about. And tell us, how important is accountability when you're walking through this walk of trying to get healthier?
My gosh, it's everything. We, especially women, we are tribe kind of people. We need community, right? And so in our minds, for some reason, this has been wired in. I think this is kind of the world saying, you're only strong if you can do it on your own, if you can accomplish it by yourself. Well, no, that's not the case. And it's okay to have someone else lifting you up that has been there, done that, or is the expert in that field, because we're, just like God is where we are weak, he is strong. And so there's other people that have gone before you that have busted through and broke through, that could actually grab you by the hand and lift you up and take you with them. And that's what I love about women. And I want us to be more okay with coming together and grabbing hands and lifting one another up, because that's what it takes.
Well, it is. And we see so much. You mentioned earlier about social media. We can all get on social media and really get down on ourselves because we can, everything seems perfect.
Comparisonitis.
Yes. And everything seems perfect on Facebook, and we have to realize that clearly a lot of that is manufactured. But either way, we can't be so negative with our words, and we can't do body shaming one way or the other. I have friends who think they're too skinny. I have friends that think they're too overweight, but no matter what, they don't like themselves. And so that's this, when you're talking about body, mind, spirit, we have to get in our heads. We can be accountable without being shameful.
That's right. Yep. No shame, no blame. It's just being okay with where you are and understanding that I'm not going to stay here for long. I'm moving forward. I'm pressing in. And so, I think that shame and that blame is really what keeps you in a downward spiral, right? And that's not of God. That's where the enemy wants to keep you,
right?
In a place of shame and blame and resentment and not good enough. And so we just can't give into that. And I know it happens to all of us. I mean, at some point or time, but it's having a quick rebound to that, right?
Oh, absolutely. So share with us maybe one or two other things, and then I want to get to a little bit more about what you're doing and how you can help us with some of these issues. But what are some other things? So we talked about cardiovascular, we talked about depression, we talked about plant-based food eating. Is there anything else that you think is kind of an issue with women that we need to work with?
I guess it depends on the stage of life you're in. Hot flashes.
Oh, okay. So let's go there. Yes. So I'm saying most of our audience is probably in that age where, well, actually, to be honest, every woman, it's either coming, it came, or they're in the middle of it. Like,
there you go.
We have to figure out. So that is something I have dealt with in the last year. And I'm not sure I have the right answer, but yeah, share something about that kind of middle-aged woman who's dealing with some of those menopause, premenopause.
Yes. First of all, it's normal. And just know that when you do switch to a whole food plant-based diet, it does help to balance out your hormones. Okay. So there's a perk there.
Yes.
There's also some great, I'm a naturopath, so I'm all about natural remedies, but there's some great things that you can reach for instead of going to any kind of hormone anything. Okay. You can take evening primrose oil. I mean, that's pretty simple. And that, it doesn't, fully mess with your hormones, but it does eliminate the hot flashes a lot for a lot of people. But I will say, don't use it if you are on like anticoagulants or on like psychotherapeutic drugs or something. Just keep that in mind. But evening primrose oil, I've taken it and I've done really well on it. There's also black cohosh, which is awesome. A lot of women need to just drink some ginseng tea. I mean, it's pretty simple. Or take some magnesium. About, half of Americans are deficient in magnesium.
Wow.
I don't think people realize that, but it's a big deal. And it's affecting, just our hormones and just our overall well-being. And so, magnesium and potassium, that would be a good one to ingest a little bit more of, because it will help to eliminate PMS symptoms too, for those that are dealing with PMS. There's a lot of natural things that you can do. Ashwagandha. I'm a big fan of ashwagandha. It's an herb that you can take kind of at the beginning of the day or the end, depending on your need for it. Beginning of the day, which is when I take it, it can be an energy kind of booster. At the more towards the end of the day, or whatever, even in the early morning of the day, it can relieve anxiety and that kind of stuff that kind of goes along with that transition of your hormonal experience and journey. So, there's just a lot of things out there before having to reach for any kind of pharmaceutical. And I'm a big fan of going natural first.
Well, and I love what you said. A lot you can modify your diet. So when you're talking about plant-based, that is such an easy fix. And I think we overlook that the food can help us heal.
100%.
And so if we go there first, but also movement, I heard you say movement. So even, whether we're talking menopause, whether we're talking stress, anxiety, any of that, if we become such a culture where we're sedentary. Now, I think that's changing. To be honest, like I see with my kids, they're way more active. And that's just part of their culture. So I'm hoping that kind of shifts as we move through the generations, that they will become more active. But a lot of our jobs now, years ago, it used to be farming and people were out right. But now we're all behind computers. And so because society has shifted with our jobs, we tend to do that. But sitting can actually be more dangerous to our health. We all know that now.
Yeah, sitting and not sleeping. Those are the two biggest, and stress. Those are like the three big issues. I mean, honestly, and it's like some women are like, well, I don't have a choice. I mean, I gotta get this done and that done, and who's going to do it? Well, I just want to encourage you and say, let some of it go and be okay with it, and start to have a specific time that you get to bed, start to unwind and dim the lights. Let the melatonin kick in, and because we're around artificial lighting all the time, like our body is so confused, and that affects our hormones, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and I heard my doctor as well. She said, in addition to all of those things, she goes, do not be on your phone the last hour before you're getting ready to go to bed.
Oh, for sure. The screens.
The screens,
oh my
yes. We're all, it's like, oh, let me just check my social media before I go to bed.
I've been in bed. No, seriously, guilty. I've been in bed with like one eye open, scrolling.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
so
I
bad.
do that.
And I know better.
I know. So, I think that's the hardest one, to be honest, because everyone I've talked to says the same thing. They're like, well, that's the last thing I do before I go to bed. I just kind of want to catch up. But that is so bad for us. So we just have to look at, let's put some simple things in place, and we can't make all the changes at once, right?
Right.
We do little changes by little changes. So, what would you suggest with any of the things we've talked about? Is there a first step? Like, should we get our body movement first? Should we get our food first? Is there anything, or does it really not matter? Just start somewhere.
Well, I think there's a good reason to start in a couple of the different areas all at once, not just one or the other.
Oh, okay.
Because I think not in an overwhelming kind of way, but in just, I'm going to walk around the block today. And then, I'm going to add a salad to my plate today and take off, whatever, the French fries.
Right.
So it's just that one thing. And then, the next day I'm going to go 2 blocks. And so you just start to conquer and layer. And I think that's how you start to master it. But also, because the more you put on the healthy stuff on the plate, it weeds out the unhealthy, right? The more you make room for yourself for movement, the less time you have to sit around on the couch and watch whatever, Survivor, So it's really just putting you as one of your most important appointments. And I think that's the message for most women. It's like, you are important enough to keep your appointment for yourself, and not wait until it's at the end of the day and go, oh my gosh, I'm too tired, maybe tomorrow. And then it happens again the next day. It's like, set a scheduled time and make that appointment. Loving you is loving your creator, your body is a gift. It's a gift, and it's the Holy Temple houses there. It's, the Holy Spirit houses there. So let's take care of it and live in excellence as we're called to.
That is so great. And literally today I saw someone was having a conversation. Yes, I was on social media, but it wasn't before I was ready to go to bed. But I was looking and she said, you wouldn't go into a church with a big wrecking ball and just vandalize it and tear things down when you knew it was in good condition. So why would you do that to your body? Because we are his temple. So if we wouldn't do that to a physical church building, why would we even think we have the license to eat anything we want that's not good for us, and to get ourselves in these positions where we have cardiovascular disease? We have to treat our body so much as a temple. So I want you to share a little bit with our listeners. I know we're going to have a link to your website, because I know I've been to your website. You have a lot of resources, and I have all your Visibly Fit. And I have to tell you, Wendy, I have been resisting exercise. That has been my biggest thing, but I pulled those videos out probably about 6 months ago, and I love them. So I just want to tell for people who do not like to exercise, I am a key example of that. If I can do it, anyone. And why I started doing it, Wendy, honestly, is because I travel a lot, and I thought I need to find something that I can just do if I'm in a hotel room, if I'm in somebody else's house, where I don't have to say, oh, I need to run to the gym. Where's the closest gym? And that has really shifted my whole mindset. But the bigger thing is I actually feel better. I sleep better. I move my body better. I don't get muscle aches as much. I don't get cramps. And so I know a lot of it comes into that, but I just want to encourage everyone that if I can do it, you can start moving your body more. And Wendy has great resources, but share with us a little bit about, I know you've got some programs coming up or some coaching opportunities. Tell us how we can connect with you on that level and where we can go to find information on that.
Yeah, a couple things. One, I want to give you something for free because we do have to start somewhere, right? So I know in the show notes, Christy's going to put it up there, but I want to give you like the top 10 drinks to ditch to eliminate your muffin top. You like that name?
Oh, yes, I do. Oh my gosh.
Okay, good.
It's a little too close to home, but thank you.
So I want to give that to you. And so make sure you go in the show notes and grab that and I'll send it to you right away. But I also want to encourage you. I have a very intimate group and it starts really soon, but I want you to go to getvisiblyfit.com. If you are serious about changing your life today, if you're serious about making a big difference and not just in your health and your physical health, but mentally, spiritually, the whole gamut, because it's a holistic approach. I want you to go to getvisiblyfit.com and I want you to apply and I want you to schedule a time on my calendar and let's talk, okay, like quickly, because this is approaching quick and I want to make sure that you are able to hop in because you deserve it. And you know what? What have you been waiting for? It's like, why keep going down the same cycle of that quote unquote New Year resolution and it hasn't worked? Let's give you the solution that does work. Deb, she was a single mom, fast food junkie, and she after 7 weeks was down 35.4 pounds and 29 inches. So if she can do it, you can do it. She's now, after it's not even been 4 months, but she's now down 66 pounds. So I'm encouraged by her and I hope you are too. And that can be you. So go to getvisiblyfit.com and let's talk.
Wow. Thank you so much for that free gift. But also I agree. I encourage you from a personal standpoint. You can trust Wendy to be just the most amazing woman of God to help you through this. She does not make you feel bad about yourself. She is not a pressure person, but she is tough. She will give you tough love. But you do owe it to yourself. You do owe it to yourself to just walk through this. And even if you have any questions for her, I think that's a good first step to be able to start. So thank you for sharing those resources with you. And we'll put all of those links in the show notes. But I do want to get you in touch with Wendy, so make sure you apply for that. So Wendy, as we close, I always ask a lot of my guests, based on what we've been talking about, would you be willing to just close us out in prayer? And for all of you listening, if you just close your eyes for a minute and just be with us in prayer, I just know that this will bless you and it'll just allow God to just work in your body, mind, and spirits as you pray us out.
Sure. Yeah, Heavenly Father, we just come before you in gratitude that you chose each and every one of us to live this life, gratitude that we have and can choose joy each and every day. It's your joy. And we thank you that you have gifted and given Christy a heart to share your truth and to have interviews with people to help her audience. So I thank you for her. May you bless her. And I pray for those that are listening that if they're feeling down and out and like they're too old and they're too far gone and it's just hopeless, Father, I just pray that you would infuse their mind and infuse their heart with your spirit, with your words, with your truth, and that they would snuff out the lies immediately. Because, God, you are a God that has already promised them so much, and you have a plan and a purpose for their life. They are princesses. They are your princesses. So, Father, may they step up boldly and courageously and walk out their life, this journey with full intensity and intention that you've called them to do with great purpose. And I pray, Father, that if they are dealing with any kind of depression today, Lord, that you would just wrap your arms around them, that they would feel your presence, that they would step out of it, that they would feel that, okay, this is not where you want me to stay. I'm going to step out and into the world that God has created me to live, and for me to be an example to my children and grandchildren and those around me. So, Father, I just pray that you give them the strength where they are weak, and that you heal their bodies, their minds, their spirits. And Father, I pray for just boldness and change, that they would embrace change, that they'd be willing and ready for change so they can be in their best health for you. And we just love you. We thank you. We praise you for all the goodness. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, Wendy, thank you so much for being here. But more importantly, thank you for who you are to the kingdom. And I, for one, look forward to getting visibly fit for the kingdom because, we didn't even talk about this, but just a last little remark. We have to be fit for the things that we know we have to do to fulfill our purpose in the kingdom, right?
That's right. That's right. That's the deal. I mean, we get one life, and we've got to live it well and not perfectionistic kind of way. I'm talking just live it well. We want to hear well done, good and faithful servant, right? In all areas. Yeah. So I just thank you, Christy. You are such a dear friend, such a great kingdom, godly woman. And I thank you for all you do.
Oh, you are so welcome. It is my pleasure. So thank you again. And we look forward to talking to you and having you on our show again. So thanks, Wendy.
This has been Women Infused Radio, connecting women around the globe with purpose and spirit. And we want to connect with you. Get your free gift, Unveiled Voices, 6 things you need to do to define your value, voice, and vision. For more information on the free gift and links to join the conversation on social media, visit us at ChristyLynnOlson.com.